maybe this place is growing on you.
Congratulations on this movie. It's so warm and has so much heart, and I can totally see myself adding it to the rotation of movies that I visit every September or every December. Sorry.
You start in September. That's cool.
Sure, why not?
Yeah.
What do you think is the key to making a Christmas classic like this?
Wow. I mean, I feel like they always have that emotional core, right? And I think they're not afraid to kind of wear their heart on their sleeve to a certain extent. And you know, I don't know. It's funny. Like I think the best holiday movies are not necessarily about Christmas or the holiday, but it's about people coming together or somebody doing something for someone else or somebody somehow, you know, growing and finding something in themselves. You know, it all comes back to like the Grinch, right? How the Grinch stole Christmas. And yeah, it's the best when it works. And you have those movies you go to as a family to watch every year, and they become more and more meaningful because of the history that you share watching them together.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Yeah.
there's a saying in Hollywood to never work with kids or animals, and yet you both work with a lot of both in this movie.
Yeah, this movie is chock full of both.
Right. And or work with Ben Stiller, and you did that.
Yeah,
too,
I heard that. I was like, well, guess I'll try.
Exactly.
Kids, animals, and Stiller. Oh my God.
That's a
No, I mean, how lucky are we? We got to be on a farm with these kids and this incredible family. And the animals are actually part of their family as well. Like they all are named and loved, and it just is, they're coming in and out. It's unlike anything I've ever done. It was special to be there.
Yeah, it felt very organic. It felt like, okay, it is the kids and the animals. That's the point of the movie. And I think David wanted to make it as hectic as possible and allow things to happen in, you know, spontaneously. And we definitely had that. And it felt like we were kind of far away from, you know, any sort of studio or somebody telling us, you know, how it should be or what to do. It was just David's world, and we were going to jump in. And I talked to somebody who worked with him a bunch of times before we did the movie, and she said, you know, just jump into David's world and let go of your preconceptions, because he's going to take you on a ride, and you're just going to, you know, just enjoy being in that atmosphere that he creates. And that was the best advice, because it's really, you know, it's just a fun time with him.
Yeah. I mean, there's just so much great chemistry between all of you, and it feels very authentic. And I feel like one of my favorite moments is when the kids hear the party music that Michael plays in the car, because in an odd way, that's sort of like their first moment of connection. And can you talk a little bit about how your character finds this common ground through humor and almost like roasting each other, for lack of a better phrase? Because I found that really true to life and a really fun aspect of this.
Yeah, I mean, I think Michael is like, he's so self-involved, and he's just not, you know, I know people like this in life who are just like, they're so into their own thing that they're just not even aware that they're being selfish, or, you know, that they're not being generous, or they're just not even opening themselves up to experiences that they could have. So it was fun to kind of come up against Linda and her just really kind of like not in any way buying into that. And
yeah, it wasn't charming her. I'll tell you that at first.
And that's always fun to play around with, you know, when just like you know somebody is like really kind of just has her point of view, and she's so great with comedy too. So it was like fun to just sort of like know, like there was a reality there, but also like an understanding of like where the humor was too. And you know, eventually Michael is, I like that, like he kind of incrementally, he gets better, but like in terms of our relationship, there's like a possibility there for something, but it's kind of incremental, which felt very realistic to me. You know,
Absolutely.
And you don't know exactly if it's going to happen or not.
Right.
I was rooting for it personally, so I'm glad that we got little hints of it. But yeah, I mean, it does balance the humor and like the real emotion of it so well. And one moment I really liked was when Gretchen was talking about, you know, some people can't have biological children. And I feel like that really adds a lot of dimension and depth to her character. And I was wondering if you could just talk about that particular moment a little bit, because I feel like that's something that isn't unfortunately talked a lot about, but that a lot of people do struggle with, unfortunately.
Yeah, I do think a lot of people have struggle with it, and it is something that you come across with your friends and your family, and you then you have to. I think for her, when I read that part of the script, I realized who she was really. And here's this person who dedicates her life to a very tough job and almost a thankless job at times, where she just is working on behalf of children, and sometimes with people who don't want to work with her. And so all she wants is for those children to be safe and loved. And so to be a person who works in that way, and then to know that that's something that's going on inside of her, I think it shows who she is and what she does, and why she does it. And then also why she wants for him so badly to see the gift that he's actually been given through this tragedy, which is also like, let's not lose sight of the fact that there is a real tragedy here and there's real feelings here. And so I think, Gretchen really serves to sort of ground that in a way where the boys don't have to always be talking about the parents and, the sadness, but it's there. She serves to sort of give the bottom of that story so that the comedy can build from there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, the comedy really shines through. I know the kids have mentioned they enjoyed filming the birds and the bees scene and the frozen pond scene. They're so good. I'm curious for you two, if there's a day or two that you'll sort of always remember from this shoot.
There are many days I will always remember from this shoot. I mean, for me, probably like the catching the chicken. I'll remember my knees will always remember it. My knees and joints. Shooting the birds and the bees scene with the kids, because they just were coming up with this stuff. It was all like improvised. They were just coming up with this crazy stuff. Watching their dance at the end, always, like we're shooting in the town in Wilmington, in the middle of the night in this, freezing cold in Ohio, and just watching them do that beautiful dance was really moving. So, I mean, and then I'll always remember my birthday on like the second or third day, and you were there.
Yeah, it was my first day.
Yeah. And David just surprised me with fireworks on my birthday in the field at the farm. And it was not like just like a few like bottle rockets. It was like Macy's Day.
Yeah, it was better than Disneyland.
Crazy.
It was insane. They invited me, like, you should stay. There's going to be a surprise for Ben. And it's his birthday. And I thought, oh, well, I should stay for that. Like a little cake. And they're like, yeah, there's going to be fireworks. I thought like sparklers. Enormous.
It was incredible.
It was so beautiful.
Yeah, it was very moving to me because I'd never had fireworks for my birthday. I don't know if you've ever.
No, God, no.
But it's real. And I'd only been on the movie for like a day. And I'm like, oh, this is like amazing. This
it was.
Like, every movie should be like this.
I looked around and I saw all of the cast and crew and the family and Ben, everybody standing there looking up with so much sort of like joy and hope and awe. And I thought, wow, what a special event what a special thing that we're in this movie. And it was so cool to be there I'd just sort of gotten there, but to celebrate you and your birthday. Yeah.
I mean, that's David Gordon Green, just his spirit creating this family for the movie that he really wanted to make. It felt very, very genuine and organic and beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. What a beautiful surprise. And that kind of leads into my next question, which is, I love getting into the nitty gritty behind the scenes sort of details of everything. So I'm curious, what might people be surprised by when they learn about making this movie? That's a little maybe fact people wouldn't realize when watching it.
That you went into that ice cold pond. It was like
really 40 degrees when we shot that scene.
Freezing.
Yeah. The day we shot the scene where I fall in the pond, I knew it was winter, it was December, but there's winter sometimes have been a little more mild. And I was like, all right, maybe it'll be like a 50-degree day or something. And it was like 36 the morning of it. And I said to Dave, we're not going to shoot that scene today, right? But this was like a little low budget movie, and they couldn't like move things around. And then he's like, no, don't worry about it. We'll have the stuntman do it if you can't do it. And then I was like, okay, I'm being like, this is like, so like, I got to do this. I'm not going to let the stuntman do it. And it got later in the day and it got up to like 39 and then it got to 40. And then I was like, all right, I just got to do it. So we did it. It was bracing and refreshing and really fun. And then he had like a little sauna tent that I went into afterwards. Like you go up into your neck. That was really fun.
But from then on, nobody could complain because, the star of the movie is jumping in the ice cold
and if
pond.
I hadn't done it, I wouldn't have been able to live it down the whole rest of the movie. And then, I mean, it was all the real, people wouldn't, I think, know that like, it's the real house these kids really live in. These animals were not trained. These were all their real animals, the guinea pig, the cat.
Yeah, sometimes they poop in a take.
Yeah. And then I'd step in it and be like real poop that I have to step in. That's real. It's like, I mean, yeah, there was like a pizza box that the boy's dad was going around grabbing Laddie's poop for that scene. So that as I realized I wasn't, doing The Crown or anything. But it was also just like the whole thing was very organic.
Mm-hmm.
It was all like so much real stuff. And, that it was just a very special, unique experience.
It really was. We were watching you guys, we were standing in the pen with all the animals, and we're watching you guys on the motorcycles, and I had these shiny things on my boots, and I looked down and there was a chicken trying to peck my feet and eat whatever was on my boots, and it was just so funny. God. And they're like, it's just a chicken, just stay in there, Linda. And I was like, okay.
On film where they were filming? Yeah. Which is great. There was always like some camera going, like grabbing something. It's like, oh, we're going to shoot the chicken. We're going to shoot Linda getting pecked by the chicken. Or like, boys are on the roof, shoot them on the roof.
Yeah.
It was like that kind of thing.
I love that. So like,
it's kind of wild. It was really fun.
Yeah.
That's so fun. I have to say, Linda, you have such a busy season right now with No Good Deed coming out, with Creature Commandos, all so exciting, all vastly different vibes. I'm curious if there's a genre that you haven't yet gotten to play in that you would really love to.
Oh, that's a great question. I don't know. I love my job and I love being sort of a character actress. And I mean, if you look at this character, Gretchen, she's very like, down home. And then you look at Margot and No Good Deed, it's like completely opposite. So that to me is the most fun about being an actor. But I haven't really I don't think I've done too much period piece stuff. I'd like to do some of that. I'd love to do a musical. There's lots of stuff I'd like to do.
Ooh. I would love to see that too. Well, thank you both so much. It was such a delight getting to talk to you, and I'm so excited for everyone to get to see this movie.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Appreciate
much.
it. Great talking to you.